All right, viewers, welcome. Carter, what was
I like
that?
that,
I
Carter.
was starting the scene.
Oh, well, welcome to this bi-week edition of the Bronco Country Roundup, and we are off to an inauspicious start. I love that. Can you hold that up one more time?
Yes.
I like that. That's
Oh,
pretty
I
sick.
love
The
that.
thing keeps messing with it, but my wife's grandpa made it. I wasn't trying to make it a thing. I was just trying. I saw it and I was like, oh, it's like a little clicker.
Like
Oh,
we opened
it's a
the
thing now.
podcast with like a threat of
A
violence or
little.
something.
Well, I might be a violent person. Nobody knows who I am. Who
Subscribe or you
knows?
get the knife.
Yeah,
On, on, I think this is going to be a thing now.
could be.
Well, welcome to this very special bi-week edition of the Bronco Country Roundup. It's been a nice, quiet week for Boise State, but here we are. It's game week finally, and we've just got a few updates, and it'll be a nice, quick one for you this week. So a little program update. I will be out of town for the next episode on vacation to Washington, D.C. It'll be a fun time. Uh, and Carter is going to take the reins as host for the podcast. So it will be coming out as scheduled. So that'll come out like Tuesday morning. But you just won't have yours truly there. So I know you guys will miss me.
We will.
Uh,
We will. It's true.
Top 25. Boise State sits at number 29 in the AP. They sit at 34 in the coaches poll. Coaches poll is notoriously kind of garbage. So if you really want to, I mean, I would take the AP a little bit more serious. Generally speaking, not a whole lot of movement. That's expected. It's a bye week. We did kind of get leapfrogged a bit by Memphis, but their record's 3-0. Ours is 1-1. I would expect that, but they sit at number 28. We're 29. We're right there. Win your games. I'll see how it all shakes out. And then Caden Dudley, this is the other update. He is no longer with the team. Now, Spencer Danielson said there wasn't any disciplinary, no nothing. So nothing really to read in too deeply there. He is no longer with the team.
That's too bad. He's a talented player. I hope he finds some place to go. He had some really good kick returns I remember from him. So I hope he finds a place. He's a talented young man. Just got beat out in the depth chart, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And honestly, I hope he ends up at the other school I kind of pull for, Boston College, or maybe UMass. I think that would be a great. Oh, who's that, Chase?
This is Leighton, one of my other little kids.
Leighton.
Come here, Leighton. She's 5. She just
Yeah.
started kindergarten. She's very curious. She
He
saw
looks too
Otto
old
get
to be named after Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah.
Nope. Actually, so she wasn't named after him, but we're not upset that they have the same name.
That it worked out that way.
Spelled the same way, actually. Leighton. So
Can we get a go Broncos?
you say go Broncos?
Go Bronco.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
Little visitors every podcast, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Little cameo appearances. Like I said last time, this is a family-friendly podcast. We love it.
Absolutely.
All right. So, yeah, Caden Dudley no longer with the team. Hopefully he can go help elevate the UMass Minutemen and bring them out of the doldrums of the hey.
I wasn't ready for that. I'm sorry.
They had 2 wins last year. Or no, they had 1 win, and I think they've already kind of tied that this year. So they're doing good.
Yeah, you picked UMass because of
Look at his shirt, guys.
their building per potential. Oh, Buster, let's go.
Yeah.
Let me go play.
Yes, UMass was name dropped for their program building potential. Of course.
Exactly.
How dare I laugh?
They were in college football 25. They were my first rebuild outside of Boise State. So,
Cool.
Yeah, made a dynasty with UMass. Oh yeah, the Minutemen. Yeah, pretty good,
Not a boy.
Give them a try. All right. Moving on though. Last week Chase was not able to join us for our fun coverage of the Pac-12 realignment. So I wanted to give Chase a chance to give us his thoughts and then go around the horn a little bit and see if there's anything maybe left unsaid on conference realignment. So Chase, go ahead.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying I guess I'm glad I have bad habits when in terms of staying up too late because that broke
It's
late.
Red.
Hey, we got another visitor.
More kids.
Yeah,
Kids.
very
All right,
family
Grayson's
friendly.
going to bed. Say go
Oh,
Broncos.
okay.
Good night.
I don't think he didn't want to say it.
No,
This
he's
is
getting
Grayson.
shot.
Class of
So,
2000.
anyways, I was saying, Otto's still here. I was up late playing basketball that Wednesday night, and then like sources see on Twitter or X, sources tell us Boise State's going to the Mountain West, and by Thursday morning going to the Pac-12 by Thursday morning that had officially become clear. It seemed like it happened real quick. I'm actually surprised like stuff more info about that didn't leak sooner.
Yeah.
Is that something that had to have been in the works for a long time? But it's exciting to say finally, after years and years and years and Twitter beefs with people that, hey, Boise State is in the Pac, whatever number it's going to end up being, Pac-12 right now. It's exciting. I know it may seem kind of watered down just because of kind of what's happened with conference realignment, the teams that have left in the last year or so. But man, that logo is going to look good on that blue turf.
Oh yeah,
It'll be fun. It'll be good. Recruiting wise, I know this is a Bronco country's kind of a recruiting thing. We're P4 now. That's going to be something that Boise State can tout to some of these kids when they're in the living rooms, and it's going to be, there's got a lot going for us recruiting wise, just by having that name brand there.
and I believe Danielson might have alluded to that at the presser today, like saying, "Hey, like this is going to be big. Like it's not just like boosters, but recruiting, all that stuff." And like we already saw, Fresno flipped an offensive lineman from Washington State today. Who knows if that affected it? But like it's going to be big. Like we are in a best of the rest conference, which puts us as 5th best conference in the country. And guess who gets like the bids? It's the top 5 conference champions. So even if the Pac loses its auto bid, which it will, there's no other conference that can necessarily compete for that 5th spot. So de facto, it belongs to the Pac. And then of course I don't know if you guys saw this today, but the Air Force is likely headed to the American, which I mean,
good riddance, I guess. Like, watch out for your knees, AAC. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, that comes to the surprise of no one. The Mountain West is going to get cannibalized now and just picked apart. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Nevada to the MAC, and then.
It's the only conference I have not heard about expanding is the MAC.
I seem to like, it seems to be a lot of momentum of UNLV potentially coming to this Pac-12 as well. I know kind of the state stuff has been Nevada State wants Nevada and UNLV to stay in the same conference, but I don't know. There seems to be some momentum for the UNLV thing.
I was actually just about to mention that. I'm glad you mentioned, because I saw that report that the state the state board isn't going to prove they want them
Board of Education, I think.
And so they're getting in the way. It's like, State Board of Education, get out of the way of sports. Geez. But like I do think I think UNLV eventually gets in once they can settle that, but it's also, you don't have to have UNLV to get into the Las Vegas market. So I don't know, but guys, I guess we'll go around the horn real quick. Carter, are there any last minute, or maybe not last minute, but any other realignment thoughts that maybe we didn't touch on last week?
Nothing that we didn't touch on when it comes to UNLV, I guess. I'm a very petty person when it comes to sports, and the amount of unsavory comments made by Rebel fans makes me kind of want to leave them out, because I think it would be funny. And like, getting UNLV, it's like, okay, I get it. Like, yeah, it's probably one of the people that's going to get invited, but if they don't get invited, it's going to be very nice to see. But that's it. Just
what's base to love?
What's that German phrase? Schadenfreude, right? Joy in the misery of others.
I very much so. Very much so. I take much pleasure in people being sad.
Oh yeah. That's like you're not a sports fan if you don't take pleasure in the misery of your rivals. So absolutely.
I mean, honestly, I hate this is so off topic. I hate hearing other fans cheer. Like when we're at away games and something good happens and I hear the fans, I talk to myself like I say some uncharacteristic things in my head because I don't want them to be happy.
I'm with
want
you.
to,
I want every game we play to be like that bowl game against Northern Illinois where they have like negative rushing yards and we
exactly.
55
And it's
off,
just like I get they're happy because I'm happy when we do good stuff and it's an away game, so I get why. But I don't want that for them. I want misery for them. Honestly, you got me on a rant now. Honestly, if Fresno State went 0-12, that would be the happiest I would be about another team's results. I don't care about conference power rankings and all that until we kind of went into the Pac-12. But if Fresno State went 0-12, that would be amazing. If UNLV went 0-12, that would be amazing. It would make me so happy to see the teams closest to us be so garbage. But that's just my own petty.
Our Schadenfreude crowning moment was when Idaho had to drop back down to FCS, I think.
Ooh.
Oh
I'll never be able to replace that feeling.
Yeah. I think if BYU goes 0-12, I'm pretty happy.
That's the one I'm thinking right there. BYU. Yep.
Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada.
Yeah. Well, Chris, any other kind of unsaid things that maybe you left out last week for conference?
No. The only team's name that I heard that we didn't mention was Rice. And I'm like, really? I guess they kind of like Evan said last week, like Tulane, have a large endowment. I don't entirely know what that means.
Lots of money from the state.
Yep.
Oh.
They are they considered a what's their class? It's not like a public Ivy, but
I don't know what you said. I can't think of it either, but yeah, they get lots of
but they're loaded
money right off the bat from somewhere. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, don't like that. Give me Tulane, Memphis, and UNLV, I guess.
The one thing Rice does have is elite baseball. So they've got that. And then football is, well,
Well, when Boise State has baseball again, we'll talk. But I'm not ready to broach that subject yet. I'm still brokenhearted from that.
Oh, yeah. No, and I don't think that's not going to be for a while. Like those Pac-12 profits will have to actually start hitting, and they'll have to have that cash, that capital to like put together a team again.
Yeah.
So
other than that, no. I liked some of the news that's coming out about Memphis and Tulane. Sounds like it could happen actually pretty quick too. So
yeah. So I guess building off of that, the last thing I'll say is that Memphis and Tulane did hire consulting firms and that was reported on to like evaluate whether or not they should move to the Pac-12 or just their options for any conference realignment, whether they should stay put. So I personally think Memphis, Tulane, give me a school from Texas. UTSA just does not excite me in the slightest, but that would be them. Like just it's one of those things. The thought of UTSA just makes me sleepy. Like they bore me. So I don't know. It's nothing personal, but fine. UTSA. Anyways. Moving on though. So we have a game against Portland State this week. And so Carter's got a little bit to say about Portland State, and we'll go to him in just a second. But we decided that this is the FCS game. This game is more about Boise State than it is about our opponents. So we just wanted to go kind of around the horn, I should say, and tell you, our viewers, what we want to see out of the Broncos this week. This is kind of a get-right game, if you will. After two games, like some very roller coaster-ish 2 games, this is a chance to really hit the ground running before we have a bye week again in later October. But we've got some tough games on the schedule. It's a huge opportunity for Boise State. But Carter, before we get too far ahead of that, what do you have on Portland State?
Yes. So I went to the press conference today or yesterday, depending on when this comes out. And, Danielson said a few things about some few players. So on the offense, he stated that their quarterback is very sneaky, really likes to run the ball a lot, really a if the pocket collapses, he can escape, which I think is a good thing for us, because if Boise State fans have been watching, the Washington State quarterback scored a long, I think 30, 40-yard touchdown run last week against Washington. The UNLV quarterback does the same thing. How many times Kansas almost had him for a sack and he broke it off for a 15-yard game? So obviously I don't think this Portland State QB is up to the level as those guys, but I think it'll be a good first test of how do we keep containment on a quarterback so he can't hurt us while the secondary is doing what they're doing. Also believe that he complimented a few of the wide receivers, so I'm expecting maybe some good challenge for our secondary. But it was mostly coach talk. I'm like, these guys play hard, they fly around, that type of thing. Defense said that their middle linebackers, tough player, lots of tackles, a lot of sacks. So the offensive line will really have to pay attention to him. More coach talk about how they play hard, they fly around. I believe Khalil Shakir's brother is on the team, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember what position he plays. So if anybody knows, corner. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that. So he's there too, so that's a good connection. Boise State fans could maybe be seeing how the Shakir brother plays. But all in all, it's the QB, it's the receivers, it's the middle linebacker. But it most of the time it seemed more forced of like, oh yeah, this guy's good, this guy plays hard, more than like we need to be worried about it. So some people to look out for, but it's Portland State. So
yeah, this is the FCS game. We should take care of business, but it's about what we do to take care of business. Essentially, it's about about Boise than it is Portland State. But just a fun little add-on to that, you mentioned Washington State. I was in Seattle for the Apple Cup. That was kind of funny. Those Coug fans painted the town red. I went to the Mariner game on Saturday, and so we're walking past all the sports bars, all the stuff. It's just Cougar fans. They're having a party, and all the hang dog Husky fans just walking on back like, "Mrr, my life is." I've won 9 of the last 10 of these. Like that was a funny atmosphere, and to lose on what type of option? I saw the highlight. I forget what type of option.
Speed option to the short side of the field. It was the most bizarre play call I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. So I've heard a lot of complaints about that, and I watched it, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a choice right there, and it's a bad one.
The quarterback looked like he was lost in a neighborhood and trying to find his way. I don't know. That was a terrible play call.
All right. Well, yeah. All right. Well, guys, let's go around the horn. And Chris, if you don't mind, I'll start with you. What do you want to see out of Boise State on Saturday?
Well, there's a couple things. The first thing for me, everybody's even in the press conference today, they talked about the passing game needs to be improved, and I can't agree more. But I'm gonna take it from a different angle. Everybody wants to talk about the quarterback. I think the wide receivers need to step up. We've seen flashes, particularly Cam Camper has had some great moments. Caples has looked pretty good, but I need these guys to dominate. Okay, these guys are physically better, and it's not even close, really. And they need to show that off. They need to flex their muscles. I need to see Prince Strachan get a 50-50 ball and make it look easy. I need Caples going over the middle for a touchdown or something. I don't think that they've reached their potential yet. And this is the game to do it. Let's see what you can do. Prince Strachan, Austin Bolt, a couple of these guys. And then, I want to see who's the freshman, Cam.
Oh, Cameron Bates.
Cameron Bates, that's it. Sorry, yeah. Totally blanked on. I want to see Cameron Bates. He did a pretty good couple plays there. So, but yeah, I want to see the wide receivers. I want them to dominate. I want them to make it look easy. And then the second thing is some depth. There's a number of young players that I want to see play. Just a couple of them for especially like corner. I want to see Franklin Johnson and Kai Taylor play. Safety, Gabe Dyer, Travis Anderson. Linebacker Clay Martineau would be awesome. He's played some special teams, but let's get him on the field. And then you got the 4 games that these guys can play and not burn their red shirt. How about Dylan Riley? the freshman running back. I mean, he's come up several times in press conferences how talented he is, and probably honestly is why Caden Dudley transferred. And he's a talented kid. So let's see some of these young kids use those 4 opportunities to play and get some tape and see what they can do.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to get those guys real game experience and relatively or hopefully low stakes atmosphere.
Yeah.
But Carter, what are yours?
So I only have one, and it's kind of what Chris said, but mine's a little more generic. I do want to see more out of the pass game. This is the game to do it because with the defense, I mean, picking on a FCS offense just seems a little bit ruder than a FCS defense. So I don't know. I could say I want to see more from the defense, but I really want to see more from the passing game. It doesn't really matter who, Maddox Madsen or the receivers, the tight ends, anybody. I just want to see something. I want to see a passing game of over 200 yards. And some of the stuff Chris was saying is some things that Dirk Cutter brought up today of like the 50-50 balls. Dirk Cutter says in practice, our receivers get the 50-50 balls 60 to 70% of the time. And then during the Oregon game, he caught about 5 or 6 of those, half chance balls, and we didn't get any of them. So Dirk Cutter himself wants to see some progress in that. So Chris and Dirk are in the same sort of mindset there. But honestly, I want to see more from Maddox Madsen. I want to see more higher percentage completions, maybe some deep balls. Washington State beat Portland State with 70 to 30, and 20 of those points came in the fourth quarter. I want to see some deep balls because that's how Washington State beat them. I want that. I don't want dink and dunk. I want 20 out of 25 completions versus attempts, 4 touchdowns, 300 yards because all 4 of them are deep balls. I want to see a strong passing game. I don't want to see run game too much because Ashton Genty, let's get him some touchdowns, but let's not overuse him. But I just want to see competent passing. We haven't had that yet, and this is the game to do it.
Going back to what you said on the defense, because I really like that. It's not as impressive to see a defense bully the an FCS offense. And specifically what I want to go back to is the 2021 or 2022 game against UTM, Tennessee Martin. Yeah. That was a very frustrating game where we won 30-10. And I remember there's definitely some blowback on fans being from, I think some GAs went on Twitter and were like, geez, you guys are acting like we lost. But the defense looked great against an FCS opponent. That's great. They went on and had a bunch of struggles that year. But the offense couldn't move the ball against an FCS defense convincingly. Those 30 points, the scoreboard looks a heck of a lot better than that game was. I was at that game. We're just all sitting there what the heck is going on? Why can't we move the ball on Tennessee Martin?
Absolutely.
You couldn't run the ball. It was what was that, 21 or was that 22?
That was Hank Bachmeier was the starting quarterback. That, I believe, is the game that Taylon Green came in and everybody cheered, and Bachmeier family got on Twitter. That was a very controversial
I believe it was 22 because I was at that.
I think it was 22, yeah. But like you said, I don't even know. Scoring a lot on an FCS defense just feels better than an FCS or than our defense holding them to 10 points. It just does. If the score ends up 70-30, like it was with Washington State, everything's going to be, oh, well, we scored 70, so who cares? But if it's 30-10, like you said, people are going to complain again, and it just feels different.
It matters more, and I 100% agree with you. It matters more to score on them because it's our offense humming along. It shows offensive efficiency, offensive dominance. If they score on us, it's okay, well, I mean, we scored a ton on them, but then it gives us a chance to put in our backups because we scored so much, and then they score on our backups as reasonable experience, 70-30. How many points did Portland State score on the Washington second team?
Exactly, yeah. And there's penalties that could happen that get them in field goal range where you stopped them, but then a pass interference that shouldn't have been called. But with offense, if you're held to 20-30 points, it's at the end of the day, you sucked.
Yeah. If you held an offense to 10 points or an FCS offense to 10 points, like we did against Tennessee Martin, that's not always a good thing because the first string defense had to stay on the field the entire game when really this should be a glorified bye week.
Yep, absolutely.
Like that. So, you got me going, and you got me going down memory lane a little bit. But Chase, sorry, you've been waiting patiently.
No worries.
Broncos.
Yeah, like kind of the other side of the same coin you guys are talking about. I want to see Maddox Madsen, Ashton Genty, those guys sitting on the sideline with their helmets off in the second half.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't been since the Kellen Moore era that we've had only 2.5, maybe 3/4 of stats from our starters because we just blew a team out so bad that there's no reason to put those guys back in. Right. So I want to be able to see that. And if we're going to score 70 on them, just kind of what Carter was saying, we're going to need to go deep with them, go deep quite a bit with that passing game, right? That's how I don't want Ashton Genty to get 267 yards again against an FCS defense. I want to see those other guys get some reps as you're talking about with our starters on the side of them because we beat them so bad, right? When they get out of hand by the third quarter. I want to see kind of the gap integrity on our kickoff coverage. Now, I know Portland State doesn't have anyone like with the speed and athleticism and ability that Oregon did on those kick returns, but we'll be able to tell if they can get any sort of find any space in the return game if we are out of alignment, out of the integrity with those gaps on our kick coverage. So it won't solve everything playing these guys in the kickoff team, but if we can see the gap integrity, meaning you pursue the ball in your lane, that's what I want to see.
So enough to show that they cleaned up the mistakes.
There's some progress, yeah, for sure. I also want to see Ahmed Hassanin get 2 or 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Get it in early, get him done first, second quarter.
Yep.
Move on.
Now, honestly, like in order to kind of prep for this kind of question, I thought, what gives me anxiety about the Boise State Broncos? And there's a few things. I mean, the passing game, that gives me a lot of anxiety. The secondary gives me a lot of anxiety. Honestly, the pass rush was giving me anxiety, but after it looks like they played really vanilla against Georgia Southern. They came out and showed what they can do against Oregon. Now I'm feeling much more confident in the pass rush, in Chinander's ability to mix things up, get pressure off the edge, and get to the quarterback, get to and affect the quarterback consistently. I'm feeling better about that. Linebackers, I feel great.
Along the same line, sorry to interrupt you here.
Oh, no.
But we saw French with Georgia Southern kind of get out of the pocket and move, right?
Yeah.
And Carter's little scouting report said that Portland State's quarterback, maybe not the same type of caliber of player, but he will get out of the pocket and move. What can Boise State do to contain that? I want to see that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Took the words out of my mouth. No, not really. I was totally going to gloss over that point, but I'm going to pretend like I was thinking it. But yeah, can we contain a mobile quarterback? That's been the bane of our existence for, I don't know how long.
A long time.
Yeah.
Can we play contain? I really want to see the secondary. I want to see a couple picks out of the secondary. Yes. Make this quarterback look average in the pass rush and then pick him off. Dominant defense. And then just like what all you guys have said, I want to see the first team on the sideline, helmets off. They're waving it into the fans, trying
laughing, having a good time.
Exactly. I want to see a party on that sideline. And I guess I will be that guy because when the first team, is on the sidelines, that means the second team is playing. And there's a certain second team player that a lot of people want to see. And I, too, would like to see him and see what he can do. And I'll leave it there.
You're that excited to watch Matt Wagner play? I'm excited.
Exactly.
You're talking about the tight end, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah. We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we're gonna end today. Just recap, just some fun bi-week content. And actually, viewers, what we would like from you is like listen to us and like maybe get inspired to share your own favorite fun memories in Albertson Stadium or Bronco Stadium, depending on what year it was. Share with us just a fun story. Keep it, at least G-rated. We could go up.
PG-13. How about that?
Yeah.
PG-13.
Yeah. We can like keep it relatively clean, but yeah, share with us some of your favorite memories at Bronco Stadium. So Chris, you got one?
Yeah, I got two ones real quick. Playing on the blue turf for Eagle high school was a blast. We lost in the playoff, but it was still a lot of fun. So it was shocking to see how much that the crown of the field is a very legitimate thing. In case y'all didn't ever been on the field, that used to be very legitimate. They fixed it now. But and then the 2018 Mountain West Championship game, we unfortunately lost the game to Fresno, but it was in the snow. My daughter was there, and it was a lot of fun. I love the snow, so that was a great memory.
I was at that game. That was a cold night.
Was that the overtime game where they had that option pitch at the end to win it?
Yeah, that's what Washington wanted to do the other day. Yeah. That's what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, no, that is it.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, that's kind of a bummer fun one. You gotta go back and get some other memories.
Yeah, I agree. I'm working on it.
Yeah. All right. Carter, what you got?
I can't think of anything from a specific game. I just have a garbage memory, but I've been to so many games. I mean, obviously, there's the BYU 7-6 game. I was there. I saw that pick. That was fantastic. I'm sure somebody has a better story. I was kind of younger then. But something that just came to my mind, it wasn't a specific game, but it's something my dad and I would always do. Like, my dad is the whole reason I'm a huge Boise State fan. Like, he's the whole reason I'm even here right now. So shout out to Papa Davis. But I remember when we first joined the Mountain West, they banned noisemakers. Like, you couldn't have like the tubes, you couldn't have anything. And what my dad would do, he would fill his pockets with change, and we would get this is before alcohol too, so it was just all soda. So we would get like 2 drinks, we would drink it, we would put the coins in the bottle, and then before the game, we would have our own noisemakers. So the whole time, we just shake these bottles around, and it looks disgusting on the inside because the water's cleaning off the coins. It's coins he got from his truck he hasn't used in years. So it's just dirty, and we're just shaking and making noise. And so that's one of my best memories. It's not a game, but just we would do that every time until I went to college, and then we haven't done it since because we don't need to anymore. They kind of just – I mean, we still could, but there's not. But it was just something we did for a while, which I think was awesome, and I think about that a lot. So that's my best memory, is breaking the rules with my dad with coins and bottles.
I love that. All right, Chase, what you got?
All right, this is crazy. This is gonna date me a little bit. Back when Boise State was in the WAC, the years 2007. Okay. For whatever reason, October 14th, we were playing on a Sunday night against Nevada. Okay. I don't know why it was a Sunday. I don't know what was going on, some weird scheduling thing. Colin Kaepernick, I think, got his first start for Nevada that game. Don't know anything about him. Chris All had just installed that pistol offense with that read option sort of thing. 4 overtimes, Boise State prevailed 69-67 in that game. Yeah, I just looked up stats from that game. Taylor Tharp was Boise State's quarterback. That one year he was a starter. Threw for 320 yards. Colin Kaepernick no finesse or touch on that ball, but he threw for 243 yards. But he had 177 rushing yards. Oh. I remember his skinny little chicken legs racing down the sidelines. We didn't know he had the ball until he's 30 yards down the field because everyone's tackling the running back. Mm-hmm. We're like, yeah, we got him. Nope, Kaepernick's sprinting down the sideline. He's gone. And I remember, like, it went so late because of the 4 overtimes that they started, like, towing and booting cars in the park, like Julia Davis and Morrison Park over on the Greenbelt, because they were there past when they were supposed to be. It was just insane. I've never been to a game where I was like, okay, we're gonna stop him now on defense, and then they'd score, then we'd score, then we'd score, then they score, and it was finally Kyle Ging, I think, who got.
Oh, I got a name. I got the name.
Yeah,
I'll name drop it. Tim Brady, number 24.
He dropped him on a two-point conversion
before.
attempt in that fourth overtime in the backfield.
Yeah,
it was insane. Like I've been to a lot of games at Broncos Stadium, but just this never-ending, like the roller coaster. Yeah, we got. Oh no, they scored again. Oh yeah, we got. Oh, it was just never-ending. It was the craziest game I've ever seen on the Blue.
I remember I was too young to stay for the overtimes, and so we left Broncos Stadium. And by the time we got home, the game was still going on, and so we got to watch the end. That's how long that game was going.
Everything about that game was crazy. It was a Sunday night. It had just a weird vibe from the beginning.
Yeah.
How many NFL players do you think in total between Nevada and Boise State were on the field for that? I'm
just kind of looking at the stats right now. Ian Johnson had 205 rushing yards. Jeremy Avery was on that team. Titus Young. He had one carry. Jeremy Childs. You guys remember him? The receiver?
Yeah.
12 catches for 140 yards. Sherm Blazer was on the team. I was just kind of looking at Austin Pettis, Canyon Bissell, Richie Brockle. Just a bunch of studs that just like legends now in Bronco lore. Some of these names. Crazy game.
I love that, but it's gonna. I wish I wasn't following it.
Probably took years off my life. For sure.
Well, I have rushed the field twice in my life, I guess. Both of them from Mountain West Conference Championship games, and those are my two fondest memories. I think the 2014 one where we rushed the field after the big 28-14 win over Fresno State. That game was never really in doubt. We pulled away at the end, but I just remember rushing the field, and people before then, I don't know why, it was the Fiesta Bowl, but they were throwing tortillas out like frisbees.
Mm-hmm.
They were like flinging them, and so it's like okay, but I just remember seeing there was kind of a gate over where the old entryway used to be by the north end zone towards the student section, and there was a little gated area, and that gate just came bursting down. And it was a sea of people just sprinting on this field because we just won the Mountain West title game, and we're going to the Fiesta Bowl to play who knows who, but we're going back. And that was
the Tanner Vallejo pick six game.
Ooh,
I want to say it was.
Yeah, those are details from a game 10 years ago that I can hardly remember.
I have these random useless trivia facts.
I will honestly, if that is, yeah, I would love to hear that because honestly, I just remember that game being a little bit slow, not super notable. Fresno couldn't score that much on our defense. We took a little time. We got going. Ajayi scored, I think, and it was kind of just really just clocking the game the whole time. The other one was a little bit more entertaining, a 14-7 win, if I remember correct, or maybe 17-14. Really, it was a one possession game over Fresno State, 2017 Mountain West Championship game. I woke up that day in North Carolina. I was interviewing for physical therapy school out there. I fly from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia to Salt Lake City to Boise. I take a nap. I pound a monster. I go to the game. We win in heroic fashion where Leighton Vander Esch picked off what's his name to seal the Broncos win, and we rushed that field. Like, it didn't matter that we weren't going to the Fiesta Bowl or anything. It was just a big deal. We hadn't won the Mountain West in a couple years, and that game was so tight. Fresno had beaten us the week before. It was the famous back-to-back where they had beat us to win the milk can. I can't remember if they beat us in Albertson Stadium and then they had to come back and play us for the Mountain West Championship game.
I believe they beat us in Fresno, and then they were all pissed
Fresno.
off because we were still ranked higher and had to come to Boise.
Yeah.
And they changed the formula right after that because of that, right?
Yeah.
That's fair though. That's fair.
Yeah.
They have a legitimate grievance with that. But yeah, that game, that was a ton of fun. I met a bunch of Fresno fans on my flight from Salt Lake up, and they were all really cool. Like it's a cool night. Then we had a night out on the town, and just that night, that whole sequence of 24 hours, going from a high stakes or high stress interview for physical therapy school to Mountain West Championship game, whirlwind of 36 hours. Like that was just really fun. So viewers, that is all of our favorite memories from the blue turf. Please share yours in the comments section and let us know if you have any questions about Portland State or anything moving forward. Thank you so much for listening, and have a good night. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.